This is the Real Pod Newscast with Levon Putney with a quick check on what's going on. So here's my man to get into it.
Thanks for listening. Hope everybody's off to a good week. I got to finish that Netflix doc on Diddy over the weekend, and I won't give anything away, but boy, did those 4 episodes tell a story. The college football playoff bracket, that's set Texas Tech. They'll be my underdog favorite. I'll root for the home state, mainly because I want to see tortillas fly if they win. Did that story a few weeks ago, and yeah, that's it. Just about to go broke again buying Christmas gifts. Yay.
My favorite stories of the day.
I'm not sure which is worse, a movie theater with a mice and rat problem, or the guy who knew it had a rat problem and still took his 15-year-old daughter to a midnight showing of Now You See Me, Now You Don't a few weeks ago. This was the deal in Waco, Texas, as KWTX 10 News reported. This 42-year-old guy told them he decided to take a bunch of mouse traps to set around the chairs, and in the middle of the movie, one of them snapped. So he snapped a picture of the mouse caught in the trap. KWTX has it in a story, along with someone else who watched the flick there in October. Said she took out her flashlight at a point and saw a rat on her drink biting the straw like it wanted some. She also said that was after somebody else in the theater screamed, jumped up, and left, and it was not a scary scene on the screen at that point. It was like these folks were living out a sequel of Ratatouille. Several people filed complaints on this, and this is not some local, privately owned, small neighborhood theater with one screen. No, we're talking a Cinemark theater in Waco. And the theater chain put out a statement blaming nearby construction for driving the mice and rats out of fields and into their building. The county health department confirmed they are investigating, and that Cinemark is in an area that includes a Top Golf, a main event indoor gaming entertainment center, along with a few eating spots around there, so those mice and rats do have options there. There's a 35-year-old guy in Louisiana who's accused of calling in a bomb threat to the Louis Armstrong International Airport in New Orleans, hours after he got stuck in the airport's parking lot, because he did not have the money to pay for the parking fee. The Times-Picayune newspaper is reporting sheriff's deputies had to come and, first of all, order him out of the exit lane because he was holding up the line. Others were trying to leave. So an FBI arrest report said the guy pulled over into a nearby lot to wait for somebody to come give him the money. But 2 hours after he first tried to leave, a bomb threat was called in, followed by another 45 minutes later. So they said the guy was still in that lot all that time. And cops say they pinged the call as coming from a spot in that parking lot, right where the guy was. He was indicted in federal court 3 weeks ago, facing up to 10 years in prison if convicted, up to $250,000 fine, plus a mandatory $100 special assessment fee. The short-term parking fee, that was likely much cheaper. Couldn't afford that. In Philadelphia, firefighters were knocking out a house fire that killed a man the Friday before last. Serious stuff there. And ABC 6 Action News is reporting while they were busy knocking out that blaze, some thieves snuck around and went through their gear, stealing equipment and personal things like keys to one of the firefighters' car that was parked back at the station. And the story said they stole that car. And hopefully that neighborhood won't have any more fires break out, because those firefighters may not be so quick to pull up. Or at least it might take them a few extra minutes to leave all their personal stuff behind. Down in the Florida Keys is where 7 News Miami is reporting people heading in or out of a Winn-Dixie grocery store parking lot the Saturday before last were walking by a parked car, which made them want to call security or police, and police came. We're talking around noon, middle of the day here, is when they peeked inside and say they saw a 59-year-old man, a 43-year-old man, and a 45-year-old woman having a threesome, middle of the day. And cops say all 3 were drunk or heavily intoxicated, as they put it. 7 News Miami did not say in their story if cops interrupted the drunken afternoon delight before they finished, nor if they made them put on clothes, but apparently they did that since all 3 were wearing shirts in their mugshots. And if there's one clue as to who decided to have the drunken menage a trois in the middle of a grocery store parking lot in the middle of the day, deputies did point out this was the woman's second similar arrest within 3 months. And this last story of the section, well, it's a simple one. The irony speaks for itself. WSB, Channel 2 Action News in Atlanta, is reporting a 71-year-old attorney who specializes in DUI. We'll at least have that going for him because, the DUI attorney was arrested for DUI Saturday after Thanksgiving. Back in a moment, but before we break, a word about the Jams podcast.
Blazing the best hip-hop, R&B, reggae, soca.
You can get the Jams podcast mix on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, and Deezer. Download the podcast for free.
It's Jams Hour Mix with Greg H.
555555. My cracking and butts. It's what we do for you.
He'll never do. But,
ladies, are you tired of matching with guys on singles apps?
Yes, you could have stopped right there.
Only to get unsolicited pics of peckers?
Ugh.
Well, try Stumble. The Stumble dating app gives women the power to choose whether to see explicit pictures.
Nice. Nope.
Pics sent only after the...
And now for the world around us.
Now, this one is just an update to a man in New Zealand who had a $19,000 boo-boo this past Thursday night. For those who missed Real Pod, last episode 97 on Friday, the 32-year-old man was caught at a jewelry store the Friday before last, swallowing a limited edition Faberge egg pendant that was inspired by the 80s Bond movie Octopussy. It took 6 days for that pendant to make its way through the guy's stomach and intestines, but the Associated Press reported New Zealand's police, well, they were patient and then put out a picture on Friday to prove the pendant came out, showing a gloved-up hand holding it after it was cleaned off. It was shiny. I'd assume it was clean. The man's stomach acid did not even fade the price tag, still on the pendant's gold chain, showing it was $33,000 and some change. It was in New Zealand dollars. And turns out the description I gave in Friday's episode was a bit off. The pendant was inspired by the movie Octopussy, but it's not in the shape of an octopus. No, it's in the shape and style of the Faberge egg that was stolen in the movie. Either way, New Zealand police believe the guy's boo-boo just proved he stole the egg-shaped locket, which had to be easier to move through intestines than an octopus. And hey, the Kiwis are on a roll because the Sunday before last at a craft beer bar in Richmond at the top of New Zealand's South Island, a baby seal waddled in to the bar by itself. The AP has pictures of still shots taken from the bar's security video, showing folks inside staring at the little fur seal, which had to be young. It was small. It's a pet-friendly bar, so the co-owner says it took a second for everybody to realize that was not somebody's dog. Again, they were in a bar, drinking, canned slow response times and recognition and all, but the co-owner says customers ended up getting shocked. Then one grabbed a sweater to try and guide it out of the store. That didn't work. Baby Seal just waddled to the restroom instead and then went and hid under a dishwasher. Now, the AP story went on to say conservation officers were already in the area tracking it down, so it didn't take long for them to show up when they called. No baby seal hurt. Just some bar customers with a story people might not believe until they whip out pictures because you know they took them. Well, there's this 61-year-old guy in Britain who at some point looked at his garden shed and said, that should have wheels and go fast. This dude took his garden shed and turned it into a vehicle with an engine that gets the shed mobile up to 123.43 miles per hour. UPI is reporting he clocked it at Elvington Airfield in York, in England. And if that isn't crazy enough, we're not done with the crazy here. The Guinness Book of World Records has the category, World's Fastest Garden Shed. And the 61-year-old broke that record at the airfield and now says he wants to make it go faster and eventually see if he can make this shed mobile sports coupe street legal. Back in a moment.
All the right people, too.
Silky Way Hair Conditioning at better beauty stores everywhere.
Enjoy this brief moment of peace. Thank you for manifesting this peace into being. Brought to you by the ASMR Network.
Now, bubble guts. We have clumpy soy milk, almond milk,
oat milk and coconut milk.
What's up with what's going down, though?
Yeah, because we have all these end-of-year lists coming out at this point. Google just put out its annual year-end search, and for 2025, the top Googles include Labubu's, no surprise. Also, young folks slang like 6'7", no surprise either. You know, us old folks were confused until we Googled it. Why in the hell do they keep saying 6'7"? Yeah, it must be some TikTok crap. And yes, it was. Just like hot honey cottage cheese sweet potato beef bowls. I'll say it again for anyone not on TikTok. Hot honey cottage cheese sweet potato beef bowls. Won't yuck anyone's yum. It might taste good. Might. But yeah, it was also one of the top Google searches of the year. Probably followed by searches for stores with Pepto-Bismol.
One pop. Oh, one pop. They call me one pop. They call me one pop. You're my daddy. They call me one pop. They call me one pop.
That was my man, Slammy Sammy, with his classic hit, and used to have us all laughing while booty shaking. That's right. This is Mike Mann, bringing you nothing but the...
That's all she wrote for another Real Pod newscast. Thanks as always for checking out the show. And this is episode 98. So next Tuesday's 100th episode, that'll be the last of this first season. Mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, so more or less a reminder. But I'll take a holiday break for a couple of weeks to get everything ready for season 2, which will drop on Tuesday, January 6th. Oh, wow. Really? That date just hits different now. But have a great rest of the week. Back on Friday.
This has been the Real Pod Newscast with Levon Putney from Show Enough Productions. And for more, hit up the website, realpodnewscast.com. That's real with 2 E's. This is Big Daddy Marty Allen. Thanks for listening.
To a midnight showing of Now You See Me, Now You Don't a few weeks ago. Now, this was the deal in Waco, Texas. And you know what? Let me break for a second because somehow, some way, I hit the doggone keyboard and I scroll my doggone script down to the end. All right, back on track. We're in Waco, Texas. As KWTX 10 News reported, show enough.